So we had good comms this game. That's something I remember. Um, so that was good. So I'm Masters 3. Let's see. I only play Moira pretty much.
Right.
On this account.
On this account, okay, I can see the name is Moira. Is it?
Yeah.
I do you play anything else? Because the reason why I'm asking this is because next season obviously there's going to be hero bans in about a week or two, and that's going to slightly affect maybe your ability to play or one trick a certain character. Is it like you have different accounts with different heroes, or like is it just like are you different ranks on different heroes as well when you play support?
I have this account and then I have like a different account where I play everything pretty much.
All right. What account is that at?
That support I think is Diamond 1 or Diamond 2 right now.
Okay, not too far off then, that's fine. You'll be fine then, relatively speaking. Not
And
too far.
specifically, I don't play Moira on that account.
Right, yeah, okay, that's good to hear at least. So you'll be fine with hero bands. Okay, so a few things with Moira. I mean, you're at the rank or at the level now where you're pretty well versed in understanding how to do like the Moira DPS TikTok thing. There's a few things that I wanna, I guess, cover with that. Especially because a lot of the time you're going to be going against comps that are like literally here, right? You're playing a Winston mirror, and you're obviously going to be in a situation where they're probably going to run something more conventional, like an Ana Brig or an Ana Kiriko, sometimes a Juno Ana, and you need to like find a way of like where's my strength in Moira? What can I do that's like special, unique to my character? And in here, like there's like that's like a really key idea that I want you to like sort of really hone in on or focus, which is playing aggressively but also safe. Now, I've talked about this idea before, not just specific with Moira, but it's really, really, really important on your character because when you go on these solo flanks or when you're controlling angles by yourself, maybe your Genji comes with you too. Like if I was coaching this as a team, I'd probably have my Moira Genji here, your Winston plays here, your Ana plays here with your Hanzo, and then you have like that 3-2 setup, and then you and your Genji can like control this lane, maybe go in deeper angles, lick the trade on the back line, all that kind of good stuff too. So what's really important about that is I don't want you leaving this angle too early. Like I want you to sort of your uptime on this angle really needs to be as high as it possibly can because anytime you go back main, you're going to be doing significantly less than the character. Like you're just going to be doing. You must be playing Brick effectively because if you haven't got the peel ability that Brick has, but obviously Brick hasn't got your mobility or your own self sustain. But if you're stacked on top of your Honor, then it's not going to be looking great in terms of you might as well be playing Brig in case their Winston dives you or something, and then that becomes way more effective. So that's the main thing I'm going to be looking for. The key things with that are going to be distance. So right now where you're standing actually is fairly fine, but having a lot of distance from angles means that you've got time to react and you can actually use a 20-meter range to sort of keep your angle and not get too close. Cover's really important to that as well. Your orbs are really important to that as well. Like most of the time you should be actually when you're dueling someone, a lot of the time you'll either be damage robbing the scout or you'll be heal robbing the actual engage so you can actually stay on the angle and win the duel. It's especially considering a lot of DPS don't have their own self-sustain. What else as well? Oh yeah, of course you want like a good retreat path and whatnot. Of course your TP isn't fade. Also your fade isn't like a Kiriko TP. So of course a more conventional setup here would be like a Kiriko standing here with a Genji. You can play wherever you really want as Kiriko. Just being wary of that of your range of Moira. And barring that, there isn't too much else with the character. But we'll see here because first fight, I actually think you leave the angle way too early against the Venture.
Terrifies me.
yeah. It is tough.
One shot way too much.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Because like Venture without the perk, Ventures we'll get into it actually here first fight. Yeah, oh wow, we're already way ahead. But like Venture's range is 15 meters. Your range is 20. Like you can outrange Venture here if you just SK out, and the Venture can never reach you. And the good thing too is that Venture's engagement is extremely telegraphed. It's one of the biggest downsides of her kit. Of course, if you hear her, you can scout her with damage drop and whatnot, but that's fine. Maybe you just didn't hear her, or didn't hear them, that's fine. But here, like, you don't need to be this scared about a Venture, like you're relatively fine. You can react if the Venture dashes onto you. You should be relatively okay here. And yeah, you can see even the ping as well. If you're 20-ish, 25 meters, 24 meters and whatnot, like you should be fairly okay. I think that might be a different ping, but still. And now if I zoom out, right, your map control is nil. Like your entire team are stacked on the exact same angle here, which does not bode well for, again, giving their Venture map control, and then in their Genji and Winston, and maybe their Kiriko should really be with the Venture as well, so have a better dive onto.
I remember, I think I was thinking about this intentionally, leaving that angle because I was alone. I was thinking about that before the round started, that I would leave early because
Right.
there wasn't anyone there helping me.
Which is the crazy thing, right? Because you're a character that doesn't need anyone to help you. You know, you've got a very high amount of self heal, and a decent amount of range too, to where you can threaten this angle. Like you can play around in this sort of location here. And again, if you're playing Moira stacked on top of your team, you might as well be playing. You literally might as well be playing Brig. You'd be doing infinitely more by playing Brig here than you would be playing Moira, because you can't stand here if you're playing Brig. So yeah, it's really like, again, that's the win condition of your comp. It's controlling the map early and forcing out the flankers, forcing out their DPS, so they can't ever reach your honor here, essentially. So yeah, of course, again, you should be holding to where you are as well, but still.
And then I drop here and it's really bad.
Yeah, so we'll see from your POV here. What happens? Okay, so after you fade back. Okay. 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 And the crazy thing about this entire thing as well, like the Venture's like has a terrible engage here, but the crazy thing about this is that the Venture would never ever be able to do what they just did, where they just like dashed over here and then try to duel on top of your Hanzo and your honor. They'd never be able to do that had you just controlled them over here and you stood your ground. And obviously, I think your Hanzo, your honor's backed off a lot as well. I actually talk about how good Venture is at zoning, and this is kind of the whole point of the character. They're never ever going to be able to do that had you prevented them. And now you're off the high grounds. I would expect their Winston to sort of like isolate your honor or isolate your Hanzo now, and you're not going to be able to do much here. So we'll see what happens. Okay, let's back up a little bit here. So, yeah, what's the purpose of that heal up?
Nothing.
Pretty
much.
Interesting, yeah. Sorry, I'm gonna DM. Okay, fine. Yeah, it's like, again, I understand why you're doing this, because the Avengers like playing aggressively and they're aggressing onto your backline here. So I get why you're doing the heal up onto your backline, but again, your character's not built for this. So yeah, it's just inefficient, so to say. And actually here, the fade to this angle is now, because you haven't got orb, it's actually it's fairly scary. The only good thing about this fade is that you're 10 trillion miles away from the Winston, the Genji, the Venture. No one's gonna threaten you here, but against a good team that see, okay, Moira's got no fade and they've also got no heal orb, like this is a free kill basically. So yeah, I would be a lot more cautious about A, where you fade to, obviously, but also the wasted orb, because it just means you can't hold the angle for as long as you want to. We'll see. Yeah, we'll actually talk about this fade a little bit. So, what do you think about this fade?
It's pretty bad in hindsight. I should have used the cart to go back up to high ground, I think.
Yeah, right. So there's a few rotations here that are available to you once you drop off the low ground here. So when you're playing like around here, where can you move to?
I think going towards point and then like using the cart to fade up to my Ana.
What might be the issue with moving in this direction here, to try and get on top of cart? What might be the issue there?
Well, there's people that can shoot me. I don't know. I just don't trust them to have that time to kill, I guess.
Right, so it's open space, right? You're going to get punished for doing this. Like, again, in any competent rank, if you walk out in open space, you will just get fade forced and you will just either die before you can even press fade, or you get forced out anyways, and then you become an easy kill target. So I wouldn't really say trying to do a fade jump from point A to point B is really what your character's best at. What about going... Yeah, what about... Give me some other options.
I mean, I can just stay in that room.
Yeah, right. So yeah, it's almost like a trick question. You can stay in this room here. You've got good space for your orbital to bounce off of, and again, you can actually threaten the Genji who's pushing the high ground, maybe the Kiriko as well, maybe the Ana as well, and you can look to sort of duel or zone these players out the fight. And again, your character's good at that because you're a good duelist, and again, you're playing in a space where that's conducive to your character. There's one other thing you can do as well.
Duel the Venture, I
Yeah,
guess.
right. So go on to the Venture. Like Ventures use Burrow, they use Dash, they're half HP roughly, give or take, and you can actually again you should be fairly okay dueling them, especially considering you've got Fade as well. Of course, it'll be micro based, right? I know you're gonna get scared about getting one shot and whatnot. So obviously take the duel carefully, but you know that is definitely very doable to you. You can swing the corner wide, damage the Venture, fade out of them after they try to one shot you with a Jaw Dash, and that kill should be fairly easy. So yeah, and of course you'll be heal lobbing that duel as well. But those options there to you are basically all that you really have. I mean, I would like for you to again, like if you're playing here, this would be amazing, you know, because you could just again you've got a great angle on top of the Genji Kiriko. You've got like you can probably use this cover here too, so he can't one shot you. You can zone the Genji and Kiriko as well, and then if the Ana walks, choose a free kill. So of course, ideally, I would have loved for you to again control the high ground, force the adventure, stay on this high ground, and then zone out the Genji, Kiriko, and Ana, and that would have done a lot actually. Because if I press play, I assume what's going to happen is that this person and this person are going to die if your Hanzo, and we'll see if that happens. Maybe not. Okay, walks. Okay, your team just explode before that even happens. But you could be pulling that attention away, and then it becomes more easy for your team to essentially live, you know, a Winston and adventure. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty much AFK this fight.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, what have you done this fight? You know, look at your ult charge. You know, like you've done basically null. You've tried playing like a B tech sort of brick in terms of your kit and your character. You kind of gave up the angle really early, and then yeah, you're not really doing much here. Okay. I mean, honestly, you can play Weaver and rip down more. But we'll see. Yeah,
Yeah, almost died here.
I mean, this is fine. You're looking for a trade. Your team's down. This is reasonable.
Yeah, and then I just reset.
Yeah, that's fine. Looking for a trade, that's fine. Okay, we'll see. Second point. Hopefully things get a bit better. Okay.
The first half of this game I played pretty terribly.
Do you... Hang on, what was the... Or do I just match a thing? Okay, you're fine. Yeah, I was gonna ask, does that normally happen when you just, like, play inconsistently? Or do you just have, like, you know, a few good games and a few bad games, or, like, you swing between, like, how well you play? Is that, like, common with how you play?
I think it's a lot of... Especially on, like... When I'm playing... I don't know, I think it depends on the map and the comp. But I don't get like consistent value. I'd say playing with dive into dive. I don't get.
Yeah. I think like that's like if I had to generalize like all the players in Masters and what like separates them from being able to climb is their ability to play into a multitude of different comps and a multitude of different maps. Because I mean, like you're probably comfortable playing, I don't know, into a less mobile comp, for example, or like a Baptiste, for example, or a Weaver, Kiriko, Bat, Zen comp maybe, where you can really lean into that DPS playstyle and you feel less scared to get one shot by, you know, mobile characters and whatnot. It's that really defining factor that I probably would think is again separating with how you play in terms of your skill level. In terms of again like had we seen this on a different map or a different comp, you'd probably play a bit better. But yeah, it'll come with time essentially, especially in EU and NA where people just don't play dive out that much. But yeah, we'll see.
I just get shit on here.
Yeah. So yeah. Okay, guys, is what it is. Happens. Okay, we'll see here. Okay, hopefully your team don't get staggered here. If you win some dive, that'll be bad. Okay, you're fine. Okay.
Fucking how?
Yeah, you need to fade out immediately. I mean, I know you're facing CD right now, but you need to like fade out immediately. Like as soon as that thing, I'll be holding my shift button right now, trying to fade the fuck out because you should lose this against Defension 9 times out of 10. So yeah, I mean, yeah, you get away with it. Oh yeah, they dashed you into a health pack. That makes sense. Yeah. And then they miss their follow-up shots and you kill them. But I mean, it's crazy because that venture, like apart from the health pack, that was like that was a very scary duel, and you won that somehow. And in a first point where that duel or that one shot from that venture is just a lot harder to pull off because it's not an enclosed area. Like you don't need to leave. It's because like you don't leave when you're supposed to, and then you leave when you're not supposed to leave. It's kind of like the two opposites, so to say. And yes, I just find it weird that you leave here, but in a situation you don't actually fade away in time. Hey, you got the kill. And you give up the angle! Oh my god. Yeah, so, why drop off it?
I didn't think let's see. I didn't have cooldowns. So I
Right.
wasn't super confident about like pushing out the other side.
Sure. I mean,
Like,
okay. Yeah, I know what you mean, right? Where you're gonna see these, you're scared if someone pushes you. My thing here is, no one's pushing you. You go
yeah, and
on.
I just felt like there wasn't gonna be anyone contesting that angle for this fight anymore, other than the venture, and so I thought, yeah, kind of job's done. I can go help out.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of get that perspective here. I mean, my thing here is like, even if no one's chasing you here and whatnot, there's still not a reason to like give up the angle here. I mean, you won the fight, right? They're still gonna back up and they're gonna give you the space and whatnot, right? But it just gives you another angle to rotate from. Because let's say you stay high on here, you can move from point A to point B, and then maybe push up past that window and start actually doing, DPS and whatnot. It just gives you more options with your rotations and your flanks essentially. Whereas now you found out you're on low ground, that access to high ground or the access to the window here just isn't going to be feasible unless you do some like weird fade tech job thing. But yeah. Okay, we'll see here. Okay. If they catch up there, it's fine. Forcing out Genji is reasonable. I did obviously the orb misses, but I think it's fine to chase or zone the Genji. Okay, I'll pay attention to more. Oh, that's an unfortunate jump. Yeah. I was gonna say I'll pay attention more to your orbs as well because like it feels like orb is it doesn't feel like if you miss an orb it's that deep, but like it really contributes to your orb charge. And a good orb's gonna get 8-9%, and that's gonna stack up over time. So missing the orb is again not conducive to farming up coalescence. Especially considering again it's not even coalescence isn't even that amazing of an ultimate in the first place. But yeah. Okay, so of course you missed the jump here, and had you stayed here, again you could be dueling the venture right now, so it is what it is, but you're doing it now, so that's fine. Look at this orb as well. Okay. I think the orb's okay, like you saw your Winston jump in, he's taking a ton of aggro, he's in Kitsune Rush, I think it's reasonable, I don't mind it. Okay. And again, your character just isn't built for healing your Winston, you know? Unless you're playing like a Lucio Kiri or a Lucio Moira type comp, like there's not really any point to you orbing your Winston like that. It's the same thing with Brig as well. I mean, if you're playing Brig, like I'm fine with you sending a pack and whatnot, but it just reduces your own sustain for the actual dive itself. So yeah, I don't hate the orb, but I think it takes away from your ability to hold the angle here. Okay, and like this is even So what's the issue here?
Pardon me?
What's the issue here with how you move?
Kind of a straight line.
Yeah. So the movement itself isn't great. You're also moving. Where are you moving?
Moving into the open.
Yeah.
I'm trying to look for an engage.
Yeah. So you're, which is fine. Like your Winston's in primal right now. That's a reasonable thing to do. That's what your character's good at, right? But it kind of actually links into the whole orb thing I just mentioned. Because if I ask you, why didn't you actually push the angle here? Why did you push the left side here?
Honestly, probably just because going into the open was quicker, slightly.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, that's a fair point.
That's in my brain. I realize now that it's probably better to go the safer route.
Yeah.
But I think that's what I was thinking at the moment.
It's funny because I was just coaching a Tracer player who had like a similar thing where they would just they would give up their angle because it was quicker to do so, and they would get value immediately by giving up their angle. But by doing that, it means that later into the fight they can get less value. You know, it's like delayed versus instant gratification. Where now you can actually see stuff like you can see the venture kind of. You can see the Genji, you can see your Winston, you can see the Kiriko. Like you can see stuff and you can do stuff. But of course, it means that it's gonna by giving up your angle, you're gonna get forced out like this, and it becomes really really risky to play instead of a Kitsune Rush style main. I also have a saying as well. We'll talk about your fate as well after this. But I have a saying: whenever you stack main, you'll deal less damage and you'll take more of it yourself. And I think that is a prime example or case study of that. I think the orb also plays an impact in that too, because had you kept your heal orb, like for your angle here, you're actually more able to push this angle safely because you've got like that fail back or that fail safe of like, okay, like if that Genji goes on to me, I can like fade and heal up myself. Or if that Genji goes on to me, I can fade and heal up myself. Or if again they ignore me, then I can also again I can heal myself if I need to. So you've got a little bit of extra sustain on this angle here. So yeah, it encourages you more to essentially again be your own boss on the angle here effectively. Okay. And so don't forget, also I'll try. There's a Moira player called Fairy Tail who I think played Moira in Face It Expert. I'll try and give some codes from them after this as well. Just so you can see some some Moira play at like tier 3 and whatnot. Hopefully I won't forget that. But yeah, Fairy Tail's pretty good at Moira. Okay. Yeah, you get force fire, fade away. I think this is probably the best save you can do. I mean, the mecha's here, you've got cover in close space, your heal's coming back off cooldown. I don't mind the fade, I think it's okay. Okay. Sure. Okay, we'll talk about that damage in a moment. Okay. Okay. So, all in all, that's not terrible with what you're doing here after you get the mega. I think your angle's really, really good, and how I mentioned aggressive but safe at the very beginning, this is kind of the epitome of it, where you've got a good distance against the Ana, the Venture, and the Kiriko. You've got cover here to use. You've got rotations. You can rotate deeper into the enemy team, and they can't really chase you. You can also, rotate here as well if you need to escape. You've got again. This is a pretty good angle here. My main qualms are the orb and how you move. So, orb here is just a little bit too late, right? If I go back up a little bit, your orbs can cool down for how long? Like, yeah, you've had it since now, you know. So, Ana's off HP, toss it in the direction Ana's moving, you can get the kill easily there. Or, again, you can keep it for yourself, just to, in case you get pushed there for your heal up. But again, I think, Ana's off HP, damage over, why not? The orb's a bit slow.
Yeah, that might be a pattern you find. Because in my mind, orb is like a confirm kill thing rather than a, like, engage with it.
Right.
It's probably wrong now that I'm thinking about it a bit deeper, but that is what I think mentality with orb is.
I think you're just fine with that because it's not Helix, it's not Veldon, it's not burst damage. It will affect the Ana, like it will do more to the Ana had you popped it literally like right here 2 or 3 seconds ago. And you actually get that kill into the Ana. So it's a bit unfortunate. That again, it's a little bit too late, and it's more of a used as a finisher here. By the time the Ana's already in cover. So yeah, a bit unfortunate there. Okay, and then fine, but this is where I start to see the error. Where this is aggressive but safe, right? Because you've got cover, forget the Kyria for a moment. You've got cover, you can see everything, right?
At this point, I'm trying to reset.
Juke around, and so that's the important thing about resetting as well. I know one of your teammates have left the game sadly. But how do I phrase this? Who can chase you on the enemy comp?
Genji, Venture.
Right. So those characters can sort of chase you, but if you've got like a good amount of distance, let's say 15 meters away from the enemy team or 20 meters away, you like if they were to chase you, like they're not Tracer, they're not Tracer or Sombra. They haven't got as much mobility as those characters. So what I'm thinking here is you hold this angle, you literally AFK. We'll go back here. Right. You get this angle, you AFK, you stand here, you beam that Kiriko, and you summon this angle. If anyone walks out on this LOS, then you beam them as well. And then if you get pushed, you fade jump from here to here, and then you escape down in this direction here. Hopefully, it's kind of my thinking. And again, if they want to chase you, it's going to take them time, because Venture needs to use dash. Winston only has mobility tied to his jump. Genji, wait a minute, the Genji right now. Right, I mean, Genji's also a bit far away, he might not immediately get to you. So if they want to chase you, it's long, and it's also fairly dangerous, because again, you can outdo them in some kind of way. If they want to come and kill you, they need to send a coordinated stack of a Winston, Kiria, Genji, and the Venture to come and chase you here. So you looking for trades is like fine, I suppose, but I feel like you can do it. I feel like you can give yourself the option to trade by at least staying here and going to the high ground here, and you can still trade it if you want to, if you feel like you can't escape. But also, if you want to escape, this also gives you a pathway to do so, if that kind of makes sense. And funnily enough, had you been here, like again, your uptime on the angle is longer. because again, you can just beam everyone, and who knows, maybe you can actually get the children to the Kyoko there. So yeah. Okay. Alright. We'll see in the next fight. I mean, hopefully your teammate comes back eventually. I mean, they will do, but
Yeah,
hopefully.
they come back pretty quick. I didn't even remember that they left.
Yeah, there we go, next fight. Okay, yeah. So they come back when they cap seconds, which is why you don't notice it. We'll just go, I suppose. Okay, where should you be playing? Where should you be at right now?
Usually I play like in the room to our left.
Yeah.
But Venture again terrifies me. I'm not comfortable at all dueling that character, especially in a room like this.
Yeah, so
that's how I kind of end up just in main.
So what? So
second option.
Right. What are some things? How do I phrase this? What? Okay. What are your alternatives then?
Mega room is what I'm thinking.
Yeah. So this is by far your best alternative, right? It's still in enclosed space. Venge's not playing it. You can still flank around here using the stairs, and then take the room and go deeper. This is still fine. My concern is that you don't need to necessarily be forced to play it essentially just because the Venge's controlling this high ground. How could you force up the Venture here, or how could you push the Venture safely? What are some things you could do?
I mean, if I grab a teammate, we could push her out, but I don't know how I could do that alone.
Sure, right, yeah. So that's one thing. It's not what I'm thinking of specifically because again, I don't want to make this a whole team play thing. But of course, if you've got a teammate to do so, that's fine. How could you scout for Venture?
Oh, I think I know she's there at this point.
More so, how do I phrase this? Like specifically with where they're moving, right? Because if you push this angle, you don't know if the Venge's going to be like hiding literally right here. You don't know if they're playing over here. You don't know if they're peeking the window, right? You know roughly where they are. So yeah, go on.
To get exactly
right. So what I'm thinking of here is you toss a damage orb, you bounce it somewhere in this room, and that roughly tells you by the sound key of the damage orb and whether it attaches onto someone, whether the Venge's playing in this room or not. So where specifically they're playing in the room. Not to mention, damage orb is annoying as shit. So if the Venge's if the Venge's playing here and a damage orb hits them, they can't play in this room anymore. That's just how it works. Or they need to leave. They need to leave the room, dash out, use burrow, whatever the case may be, and that's good for you. So use your orb to scout this area, walk up the stairs. By the time you walk up here, your orb will be on like 3 or 4 second cooldown, and then from there on you should be fairly okay pushing the Venture. Also, what was I going to say to that as well? Oh yeah, I don't know how familiar you are with like Revolution 6 Siege, but there's a character in the game called Sophia who's got concussion nades, and her nades will explode based on how close they are to the enemy. And essentially, if the nade explodes, that means an enemy is nearby. And it's kind of the same thing here, where if the orb goes off and you get damage, you know the Venge's nearby. So that's how I would push it safely. Because again, you get scouting and you get damage on the Venture. And of course, the second part to that as well is making sure you actually hear the Venture and you expect them to hold like these little rat spots here, so you're able to like press fade immediately. That's the only thing I'd say there. But yeah, I don't think Venture's like the end all be all. If anything, I think Junkrat's more scary because Junkrat can actually damage you without even needing to peek you, and that's the really scary part about Junkrat. But yeah. Do you even play? I mean, how the game is even pushing the Venture here, and I think at the very, very least, if another teammate's pushing the Venture here, you need to be aware of that. And again, 2v1 the Venture here, it's again very similar to what I alluded to at the start of the map, where the way your comp works is you and your Genji will control space and force out their flanker really, really early on. And once the flanker's out, in this case the Venture here, then you can start to take your own angle and threaten backline. But yeah, it's very similar to what I sort of described in the first fight, or in the first point. Okay. Like, this is like where it gets scary. Like, yeah, like you mentioned how you're scared to contest high ground because Venture's like, gonna dive you. But now Venture is diving you because you failed to control the space here. And I don't know if Venture's gonna miss the one shot. I mean, they probably will. But maybe not. They don't, right? Look at that! Wow, you're fine. You're 3 HP. I mean, you're 3 HP, right? So maybe a little bit too close to call,
I don't know if
right?
I'm fine.
But like the point being there is that you literally had no idea the Avenger was gonna come from high ground and dash you, and you still lived that. And again, the point being there is if you know Vengers, if you're expecting the Vengers to come and one shot you, you'll be more prepared for that, and you won't get you won't tank the full damage here essentially. That you won't tank the full damage combo. So here now you should be dead. Yeah, right. And again, that's just because you failed to control. The prevention stage, or you've got to prevent or control the Venture from going in a little bit early, which is sad. Because that fight could have looked so differently. You could have forced up that Venture. You could have got on the kill with Genji, and then maybe get a flank coalescence, and that could have been huge. And that could have changed the fight there entirely. So yeah. Okay.
I understand.
We'll see this point here. Okay. So yeah, how do I phrase this? What might be the issue here? How should I react to the Genji?
Create space. I think more space. Back up.
Yeah, so back up, right? I wouldn't fade immediately because I don't the likelihood that he's gonna one shot you is very it's not void. But yeah, back up to make sure his one shot can't hit immediately, i.e. his fan of shurikens plus dash combo. Back up so he doesn't hit that, and then once he dashes onto you, or if he dashes onto you, and my voice is gone out. But if he commits onto you, then you can fade away, and you should be okay. Obviously he just misses his shurikens, so you're fine. I mean, he even turns around. I don't know what he's doing. But yeah, you're fine here. There we go. And that kind of thing, that thing that you just did, where you forced the Genji out, that needs to happen more, but with their Venture. That needs to be happening every single fight, and your character's built for that. So, that was good. Okay. Alright. Speed up a little bit. Speed up. Okay. And even here, oh my god, whoa, okay. So now you're controlling the angle here. Do you hear? Yeah, and you definitely hear the Venture playing here. How should you react to knowing the Venture's here?
This is. I don't know. I am terrified of Ventures. I'd probably just stay here and ping careful, and then engage.
Right. So
really early, honestly.
Yeah, so you need to anticipate or expect or predict or one of those words the actual one-shot engage. That's really it. Because you can, the second you pop orb into this room, the Venger's got one or two things, right? They're either going to ignore the damage orb and they're going to take the damage. That's fine. You win there because they've got no healing. You can control the angle. The Venger's going to be low, etc., etc., etc. Or that orb is going to prompt the Venture to try and one-shot you, because they want to move past the orb. Otherwise, they're going to take damage. So use your orb as a proxy in terms of putting them between a rock and a hard place. We'll see what you do here. So yeah, you try and stay unscouted here, which I kind of respect at least. At least you're waiting for your wins to come in. The orb itself is good, and this is the thing. This is literally it, right? Where the orb forces the Venture to make a move because she can't stand still and take damage from the orb. This is the thing you need to be expecting here, right? It's the dash after the orb, for those reasons. But yeah.
You're the Winston is calling for this call, by the way.
Okay, that's fine. That's sure. I mean, I don't know why he's calling for the call because both Venture and Genji can kite it immediately. So I don't know, pretty weird call. But hey, a call's a call. Because right about what should have happened here is you can still force up the Venture here without having to use Cole. Just by the sheer aura of your character and the Winston as well. This should be easy to clear. And then afterwards, if the Winston was to push with Cole, then maybe that's fairly reasonable because you can punish Venture off the burrow. But yeah, I'm not a massive fan of that Winston call. Okay, we'll see here. Okay, sure. Okay, fine. And even that was fine, right? The fact that you faded out, or you faded out early before the Venture could even dash onto you, is again reasonable. That was a fine fade. Okay. Okay, heal over the room, nice, just gonna say that. Okay. Ah, yeah, you're giving up your position to heal Genji. So, your Genji's low, right? And this is a really important idea. How much aggression is your Genji taking?
Venture and I thought Winston as well.
Right, so,
Winston
here's
I
the
was worried
thing.
about.
Just because someone's low doesn't mean they're taking aggression, or doesn't mean they're taking a ton of aggression themselves, right? And conversely, the opposite is true. Just because someone is high HP doesn't mean that they're not taking a bunch of aggression. So your Genji right now is, to my eyes, looks relatively fine. I mean, a single venture, sure. Like, I'm sure he'll be relatively okay. He can dash out, deflect out, or whatever, right? At the very least, I don't think it warrants you jumping off the high ground here. To try and save him, because again, this angle is so powerful, because you can essentially mark anyone that you want, you can pull your honor, you can rotate behind and look for a trade, and maybe had you got coalescence still, kept the coalescence for, you know, a rainy day, that's a really good rotation as well. So I don't think, like, my concern for you jumping off the high ground here is it nullifies your angle control, essentially. And if I press play, like, turns out your Genji was taking no aggro. And yeah, and now you've given up the angle here. So it's not the end of the world, because you can fade back up there. I assume you do. I would assume you do. If you're not, yeah, so that's just a rotational thing, where again you can actually hop over here, and then again, like, this is a great angle to play. If you're scared about the Avenger chasing you, then that's fine, just play distance and play the room. They need to dash onto you, or dash up here to come and chase you, so they haven't got dash to duel you, which is fine. I guess my question here is, like, did coming up to the high ground here, did it like not you not think of it coming up here?
I don't think I get enough height.
Yeah, I was gonna say that as well. I don't think you can actually. I don't know if you can get enough height there. But at the very least, I would think about rotating either through here or taking a different angle behind them. Just some kind of, like, again, aggressive but safe angle to where you can again get your own.
That's where I thought the mini room. That's kind of what I was trying to do with the mini room.
Oh right.
Omega.
Yeah, I see what you mean. What's the issue with playing here though? Think about the distance.
Yeah, I guess we're pretty close, but I can kite easily from this room was my thinking.
Yeah, so the difference between playing here and playing here is mainly that if you want to do damage, you need to peek around this corner. But the distance between here and here is a lot shorter than the distance between here and here, or like whatever 20 meters is, essentially. The distance is generally shorter. So you have to be a lot more, your uptime on the angle, therefore, is going to be shorter, just by virtue of the distance, because Venture can chase you. So that's my only qualm. Again, it's not terrible, it's just relating back to the idea about uptime and distance control. Okay, orb's fine. Okay. I mean, that's, again, I'm not gonna cry you too much for trying to look for a trade when your team's down a few numbers here, but you can see that whole factor of distance is so important. Whereas, like, again, this is not, you can play a longer range than the Genji, essentially. Like, this is like 10, 12-ish meters roughly. Like, you can play a greater distance. Had you played around here, you can probably walk up to this corner and damage the Genji. You can more distance to react as one shot and got more cover to use, etc. Maybe even here as well. But yeah, that's my concern. Is that it's the distance and obviously the open space that you play. But yeah. Okay. We'll see here. Yeah, most of the time, like, it's either the two things I've been seeing so far is you either don't take an angle at all, i.e. you don't contest it, you just don't take it at all. Either in the pre-fight because there's too scared of venture, or in the mid-fight because you just don't think about it too much. Or when you do take an angle and you do play for like a DPS playstyle, your uptime is basically null. I mean, we saw that first fight against the venture, we saw that here. And we even saw that a little bit here as well, where you went down main instead of going left side. And even here, where you could have played cover more. You could have played cover more here as well. The uptime thing will come down to cover and distance, two very simple factors, as well as your orb as well. Those are the main things I've been seeing. Okay, we'll see here. The team somehow crushed that. Okay, Reaper now. So this is gonna be even harder. Yeah. Now with the Reaper switch, now it's gonna be even. I wouldn't even expect you to like even contest or threaten this angle. You can put a damage up here, but Reaper's not gonna care about that because his HP pool is so high and he can get life steal off of damage. So I think playing wider or playing like this flank here will become a lot more attractive. But we'll see how it goes. Okay. Sure. I mean, I don't even mind this necessarily because you're stopping cart. You've got good cover. You've got a decent amount of distance, so it's not too close. I'm okay with this. We'll look at the orbs here first, though. Okay. Yeah, that orb was it predictive to the venture?
Yeah.
Right. So you thought I think this shot from the venture doesn't hit you. It goes past you a little bit. Yeah, it does. And then you try to orb because of it. Yeah. Even if this orb hits, and how do I say it? Even if this orb like slows itself down and it hits you, does that mean you're gonna stay on this angle forever?
No, but I thought like I could catch up to it when I fade, and then maybe
Yeah.
I'll do it after that.
Yeah, I mean, my issue here is, if you think about the sequence of events, you're going to move in this direction to get the orb. Venture's going to one-shot you, or try to go for the one-shot.
Like,
you're going to...
catch up with fade. Catch up with fade.
Right, and then, again, you'll fade and then catch up with the orb. But, like, you don't need to do all that, like, it's overcomplicated is what I'm saying. Because you can keep the orb here, and then if the Venture one-shots you, or tries to, you can fade away, 10 trillion years away, and Venture can't reach you, and then the orb if you need to. So I don't think, again, the wasting of the orb here is like, it reduces your off time on the angle. You don't even leave the angle by the time you orb this, you stay here. Actually, if I'm not Venture right now, I'm like, okay, I don't know why I leave this angle, to be honest. I don't know why, because you kind of wasted orb there, and you're half HP. So yeah, again, the wasted orb there essentially reduces your off time. Okay. Fade's good. A really good fade. That's a great fade. That's probably the best fade I've seen this map so far. And really good. And now this is the epitome of aggressive up save. So, you know, you could not have a better angle here. But you're also really far away. But also doing a lot. So this is really good. Okay. Did you? How much HP are you? Okay, that orb's fine. Yeah, and there's a thing that floats. Yeah, so sad. I'm not gonna cry you for that. That's reasonable. Hashtag sad. But apart from that, like that orb micro, that was actually really good. With orb there, you live that for sure, and then you can fade away, and then rinse and repeat. But more of that needs to be happening. Yeah. And again, if you die, most of the time it will be down to micro. But yeah. Okay. So captive. Let's see. Not yet. Okay. I mean, yeah, this is gonna be whatever, right? They're gonna cap that, sure. Okay, we'll see attack here. Go back a little bit. Okay, so what's your thought process on attack?
On attack, I like to take angles a lot more. Especially playing with dive. I'm a little bit more comfortable playing with dive on attack than defense, I think.
Yeah, I think mainly because you're retaking space anyways, and that's something that Moira is again pretty good at. If you're playing Brig here, then it becomes a lot more difficult actually, because there's so few places to move, due to the mobility of your character. So, where can you look to move?
So, here I think I try to fade up with Winston.
So yeah,
keep this angle.
Yeah, is the micro here like you can fade? Like you can do some sort of like fade jump to get to the high ground here?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, sure, that's fine. I think that's okay. It's not the first thing I'm immediately thinking of. Why? Well, yeah, okay. Before I say why, where else can you maybe play as well, or get a good angle?
When I like doing that with a Winston. When I'm with some other kind of tank, like if I was with a ball instead, I would go mega room. Kind of play under, yeah, that way. And
then like play here, and then try and control this area.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah. I get why the tank makes a difference there. we'll see how this first fight goes. I don't want to say too much because my instinct is like
I missed the fade jump, so.
that's going to be unfortunate. But yeah, my instinct's like this angle's going to be inherently better because it just gives you easy access to the back line, and you can still force point anyways. And again, you've got plenty of
Yeah, I
retreat
like
paths.
going there
So
from the mega room.
yeah, from over here. So
Yeah.
we will see how that pans out. Because my issue with playing here is like you're just not going to get a good angle to do anything. Like sure, I mean you can heal your Winston. That's the benefit of this, right? But barring that, there isn't much benefit otherwise because there's not great cover here, especially with the Reaper as well. Like I don't know how the hell you're going to be able to turn around. I don't know how you're going to be able to turn around this corner when there's a Reaper here. I mean maybe you can fade here, and maybe that's like reasonable, but we'll see. We'll see. Okay. That's unfortunate. That's unfortunate. Unlucky. Okay.
Failed this one too.
That's so sad. That's unfortunate.
And I think I failed it again.
I mean, the orb's
Need
good.
more practice on this map.
Yeah, legit. No, I want to just go into a custom game and practice it. Like 500 times. Because like you cannot be losing a fight because you're failing a fake jump. Like that's kind of that's kind of crude, so to say. But the good news is that again, I appreciate the attempts. It shows that your mindset on the character is actually fairly sound, and B, the orb's good as well. I don't think the honor's that bothered by it, to be honest. If I go to a POV, where's the orb coming? Maybe the orb. Oh no, the orb's coming. Yeah, she doesn't give two fucks. She's saying me that shit. But yeah, obviously it'll be easier mechanically wise to just again flank around here and damn sure regardless. But yeah, I appreciate the attempts. Okay. Okay. Sure, orb's good. Fine. 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 Okay, fate's a little bit slow, but fine. Okay. Yeah, okay, I see why you orb this, right? My qualm is like you don't. Are you taking a buttload of aggression right now?
No.
No, right? So I think you can orb later when you see the honor or whatever. But right now I'll just let the passive kick in and then see what's coming around you. Because no one cares about you right now, so to say. But I am not gonna care about the orb too much. It's very I'm nitpicking micro. Okay, I'm just fine. Yeah, that's why distance is so important because again, it just gives you time to react. I know why you're trying to fade the sleep dot and whatnot. Hopefully, I mean, you might die to the super. Ooh, that's scary. Yeah, you do. So of course, like again, more distance there. Probably strafing back over here or strafing back to the staircase is the best thing you can do. Again, I'm not gonna cry about that because you didn't know the honor was there. As he's saying, spectator overlay. But yeah. Okay, we'll see here. All right. Sure. Sure. That was a terrible jump by that Winston. And this is why it's terrible, right? Because that jump there, he can't chase you. And this is kind of the point I was making on second point defense, where they can't really chase you if they haven't got the mobility to do so. Like this guy has just given up this entire space and this entire space as well, just to come and chase you. And he's done 0 damage to you, by the way. So far so good. Okay, I say so. I jinxed it. Okay. So, fate's fine. But again, you need distance. So either fading like, again there's an honor brick there, right? But like fading to the coast side and then forcing this guy to come and chase you, or fading like underneath over here and then playing in the mega room, either one of those would have been fine. You need distance against Winston. Because his DPS is what, 70 or 75? Like 3 seconds or 3.5 seconds with your passive and he'll kill you. So yeah. Oh, that's tight. Oh god. That's important. Okay, you get very lucky there. You get your all back in time. Yeah, I mean, barring that, like I think apart from the distance you have against the Winston, I think everything else here is fine. All this stuff is good as well. Okay. Oh, that's very greedy. Where should you move to?
My instinct is like to go towards the mega room.
Why back here? Oh, sorry. You mean when you mean the mega room? You mean over here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, play over here, play the cover. You're obviously, I think, traveling or was traveling in this direction is now dissipated.
But
But
I
yeah,
think in the game I'm in full panic mode here.
yeah,
Just people all around.
I always say to Tracer players, whenever you're panicking on Tracer, all your micro goes out the window, and it's exactly the same with any other character. But your priority now should be living, not trying to get a trade onto this Winston. Yeah, that's scary. How are you alive? Oh my days. Yeah, I mean, yeah, against a better team, I mean, you might even still die here because the people can still see you.
I do, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm leading more just preserving your life, and again rotating to keep distance in the mid fight. But yeah. See if he's on to you, and yeah. Okay, we'll see here. Next fight. But that fight was again twice on distance. Okay. Go down a little bit. Okay. I'll key or say I'll watch more before I say anything. Okay. Okay, good rotation. Yeah, okay, so like really good rotation into the high grounds. What's some issues that you might see here?
I'm just kind of standing in the open, but my plan was always to fade up. I was trying to draw aggro before I did that.
So I'm actually fine.
Never got aggro.
Yeah, I'm completely fine with that because it's a trade-off, right? If they don't pay attention to you, then you can just damage anyone that you want and punish them. And it's kind of what I wanted to see here a little bit more, and more so with the damage orb, right? Because this orb, I don't know who that's going to. I think it even bounces off the cart or something. Yeah, it just bounces off the cart. Whereas now, an orb here would be really, really nice to like again push that venture. And again, distance. Like this is like that fucking ventures in like the Sahara Desert with how far she is away. Like there's no way you're able to like the venture's going to be able to one shot you from here. And if they do, then you're going to fade up to high gun and they're fine. So yeah, that orb there's a little bit wasted, but we'll see here. The aggro here is great. That's fine. Okay, fine. Winston's not aggroing onto you because he's nano boosted, so the fade is good. Orbiting close to him, good as well. Yeah, really good late fight here. There's a little wasted orb there that I was a little bit concerned about. We'll see next fight. Okay, speed it up. Okay, oh, coalescence there. Okay, we'll see here. Was this coalescence called?
No, I just used it to confirm the kill on the Winston quickly before they could
Right. Also, what's the issue here? What issues? It's small things, right? But if I zoom out here,
the orb was too early.
orb was too early, right?
Taking damage from the venture again.
And literally right now, I know the venture's gonna go onto you, but again, it's your uptime. Right? You're gonna leave this angle here eventually, but I want you to drain every last second, drain as much time as you can, and waste that venture's time coming to chase you. Even with dash, and that'll be great. Again, you don't need to leave here immediately. It's your uptime on the angle that again I'm a little bit slightly worried about. Again, I know what you do because big scary venture person, right? Big scary one shot person. But if you look at the venture and you know what they're playing, then that's not a big concern. And if you're expecting the dash, which you can react to, you should be okay. But yeah, it's more micro there, and obviously the orb is fucking in Narnia right now. So goodbye heal orb. Okay, we'll see here. And again, the coalescence is unnecessary. You're gonna kill the Winston regardless of it. And after you kill the Winston, the points base is gonna be one anyways. So yeah, it's a bit wasted. It's not one of those things. It's one of those things that again will affect you into a later fight, because as we go to the second point here, I guarantee you there's going to be a place where I'm going to say, "Oh, imagine if you had coalescence here," and that could be game changing.
I kind of just use coal like an ability.
I get that a lot. It's opportunistic. Is how I view coalescence. It's every all in the game is opportunistic to some degree. But by wasting it, like that wasn't even an opportunity there. You were already going to kill the Winston. So I think whenever you're on a good angle and you want to enhance the aggro that you do from that angle, or maybe you want to because coalescence range is 30 meters, I believe. Like if you've got like a good long angle that you want to damage from, then by all means press Q. But now that's not going to be the case anymore. So yeah, I'm not going to be hard and fastened with how you use Coalescence, but I don't want it to be wasted. Okay. I mean, that is a waste of a Blossom if I... Like, that is a... God damn it, man. That rally as well? On one of these ults. Okay, that Blossom's good, though. Okay. Tracer might be the goats. We'll see you next fight. Okay, tell me you go high grounds. Thank you. Yeah, so I had a feeling you weren't gonna hold as close as I wanted you to. So you do go high ground, but if I zoom out here, what might happen with the Venture and the Reaper?
They'll probably try to re-clear high ground.
Right, so what can you do, or what could you have you done to prevent the Venture from being able to outduel your Reaper? Very simple.
Or heal orb.
Right, literally, well, yeah, that's simple. Done and dusted. You haven't even got to look at the Venture any longer. Like, I get you've got like PTSD from them one-shotting you, but they're not gonna one-shot you from here, you know? So if I press play, and look what happens here, maybe go over here because Spectre overlay's a bit weird. Like, if I see a Reaper get forced out here, I'm gonna cry. Or, like, it's just, again, that Venture cannot be walking up this much, you know? Nor should your Reaper be able to give up the space immediately or give up this much space. It's like, you can contribute to holding this angle or holding this high ground here way more without having to put yourself at danger. So yeah, I'm not a fan with how much space you give here, essentially, without needing. Again, awful Blossom, what is that? Okay, we'll see where you move. Okay, I mean, I get why you do it, obviously Reaper's low. But again, it's not fully necessary. Okay, young Kitsune, I can get it, I can get behind it. If it weren't in Kitsune, I would not like to pay back, but it's fine. Sure. Sure, okay. Okay. Fine. Okay, we'll see here. Okay, angles here good is good. Fade away is reasonable. Unfortunately, I'm not gonna cry you too much for that. Where could you have maybe faded to out? Okay, there's nothing else you could have done. I mean, I think you bump your head on this little ceiling thing, and then you try and fade over here, but because you bumped your head, you just get into the excavate. I mean, it's really unfortunate because you fade before the excavate drops down, so there's not much you can do about this. But yeah. Okay, we'll look at next fight. Okay. Sure. Okay, Winston, fine. Why did you drop the high ground? Oh, look, So, yeah, like this is the thing, you know? Like, why did you drop off?
My idea was... Winston was calling something about coachinggg, and so I wanted to do that from main.
Okay, so your Winston's not wrong, technically, but your Winston's thinking too far ahead. Your Winston has a very Western mindset, which is, guys, let's press W and let's press all of our cooldowns and win the game. In order for you to be able to W key with Coalescence, you need to clear angles first. Because what you don't want happening is you to W key, and this big scary Venture gets all the space in the world, flanks behind, and one-shots you from behind, or one-shots your team from behind. That's not what you don't. That's not exactly what you don't want to happen. So at the very least, what could you have done here before you int him with Cole?
Damage or where the Venture is.
Right, and I've got the press play, and then look what happens. Tracer drops. I don't know why. Right, like this, you can help this. You can change the outcome of this duel by a single damage orb, a little bit of beam damage, and that is it. And a fade out as well. And you 2v1 that Venture. That Venture dies before they even are able to burrow. Before they're even able to burrow, and you win that fight, or you clear that Venture, and then you can drop down and press Q and beam everyone. That's simple, you know. Yeah, I don't know if you're just forgetting the Ventures here because you're scared of them, so you want to ignore them entirely. I don't know if it's that you just don't know if the Venture's going to be playing there, I mean, at least from defense, I think you should have some expectation, and from the last fight too, mind you, because the Venture dropped down and pressed excavate. You should have some understanding that someone's going to be here, or Venture's going to be here, and it's important to at the least scout this out. You know, put your damage up here. If it hits someone, you know someone's here. Clear them out first. If it doesn't hit anyone, that's fine. You can drop down Coalescence and that's fine. But yeah, it's the space control. That's really, really important. Okay. Reaper's, well, it fades out there, and luckily dies, right? But that's too close to call. Too close to call. Okay. Gold's fine. Fine. I think, again, the handle's a bit scary, but you've got the Yukineski here, so that's fine. I don't really care that much. Call is good. 5v4, I'm gonna throw at that. Okay, let's see. Last fight here. Okay, where should you be holding? I would face it. Where can you be holding?
I think probably mini room would be best.
Right, so you got a few options.
Either way, honestly.
Yeah, right, so you can hold here with your Reaper and hold this angle. You can orb underneath, that's again a great orb to do so. You've got distance, a cover, you can fade back if you need to. You can see your entire team as well. Like, this is a great angle to play. Here as well is not terrible. I think it's a bit more difficult because there's not as much cover to use. Like, here is a bit of an awkward angle because you haven't really got much distance in case anyone comes up here. But barring that, it's an okay angle. So I'd probably play here. I'd also pay attention to where your team's set up, right? If I zoom out, look at your tracer. Ooh, this person you can definitely enable. So again, if I press play, let's say hypothetically, your Reaper's playing here as well, right? So considering you're playing Kiri Moira, at least want one of you to support your DPS. At least one of you. Like, both of you are great characters at doing this. And then the other person can just stand cart. So it depends on who's on cart, right? So if your Kiri's on main and you see your Kiri's not taking an angle here, I want you to play here, right? Scout this area out, control the angle, can help your DPS out, and you've got, again, a great angle to use yourself. So could have been a bit better. Like, now look at this, right? You could have damaged over this of course your tracer takes the pulse bomb here. But you can damage up the brig, force it to dash away, aggressive the tracer, and potentially get a second kill there, you know? Or deepen the angle with the tracer too. Of course I see you deepening the angle here, which is good, but my issue here is that you've committed faith for this, right? You could have been here, dropped down, and committed committed the tracer onto the brig without needing to use fade here. That's my main concern, is that again you commit faith. The chase feels good, though. So I guess the question here becomes, why do you set up main? Or why do you stand cart?
You need only ask for my help.
I think just because it moves quicker.
Yeah, no, yeah. Yeah, I don't know how much it moves quicker by. It's like 10% extra or something. It's minimal because either way they're gonna touch cart. And this is gonna end up in last fight territory anyways. So I wouldn't be concerned about that unless it's like really, really close to hitting cart. Or whatever the case may be. Or again, if your Kiriko is like already supporting an angle, that's fine. But yeah, barring that, there's no advantage to be on cart really. Okay, I'd even argue there's a disadvantage because there's a Hanzo who's like 20, 25, 30 meters away from you, who can outrange you and shooting arrows down main, which is not great if you want to stay alive and not get domed. But yeah. Okay. If D.Va had any situational awareness about using Fade, there's a good. I'll be coaching that D.Va to be like, hey, if you want to get a trade, go for that Moira who just use Fade, and then you can burn them. But yeah, of course you guys are gonna cap this most likely. Hopefully I don't jinx this. Valley out. Okay, who cares? And that's gonna be cap. Yes, gonna be cap. Okay, we'll do a quick summary here, and then I'll try and answer any questions you have at the end. But yeah, we'll do a quick summary. Okay, first thing is going to be between one or two things, but they kind of interlink into each other, so I think it's not going to matter too much. But I think the first thing is going to be like uptime on angles. So there's going to be a few ideas to that. So there's a whole like aggressive but safe thing, which again you did brilliantly on third-point defense here against Kiriko. I need that needs to happen every fight, or as many fights as possible. So again, I'll reference that. Kiri, points, defense. And then there's some factors that can help you do this. So I'll list them out. So cover, line of sight, distance. Again, it's a big one that I've been mentioning throughout. Again, I'll say important, plus venture, and then rotations, which basically just means you can have aggressive or defensive rotations. A defensive rotation is just an escape path, also like slash escape, and an aggressive rotation is just a better angle that you can take from that position. Cover self-explanatory. LOS is something that I haven't talked about too much, but again, this refers to seeing or like having your team see you. So again, I mentioned at the beginning, as an example, your Genji can play with you on the high grounds, and then you have like a spare name or spare person with you, so which makes your angle safer. Okay, that's the biggest thing there so far. Second thing I'd say is taking or threatening these angles in the first place. So I think on third point again, you were too scared to actually test the venture all the time. And then what else can I say here? I'm just thinking as well. I want to mention damage orbs as well for scouting, but I'm not sure to make that separate point. We'll say this. We'll say damage orb for scouting and damage. Again, good to clear space. Clear space early. Again, links into third point as well. And then what else? Other examples. Oh yeah. Second point, defense. Defense. Where like you stayed main in a Kitsune rush instead of going on the left angle. Then they're going left. And then third thing, I think it might be with your coalescences. Let me think. Let me think. Yeah, okay, I'll say this. I'll say coalescence usage, because I don't think I saw one good coalescence here, but I'll say with coalescence usage, again, enhance, angled, pressure, and make sure to clear angles, flankers, beforehand, before entering with Cole. And again, a textbook example of that would have been third point attack, I think 2 fights ago, where the Venture basically dueled your Reaper, and you could have contributed to, again, helping your Reaper out, your Reaper almost died because of that, and you could have also contributed to forcing that Venture out earlier. And again, that links into the second point as well. And all these points link into each other in terms of, again, it's kind of a holistic framework, so to say. But I think the biggest things so far in your play are the uptime on your angles, actually you're not scared to take the angles in the first place, and making sure that you are safe while going on the angle itself by making sure you've got distance, a good escape path, you're scouting the angle, damage orb, all those kind of things. I think that should actually help you, again, control space a lot more, and hopefully give you an easier time playing into dive. So those are the key points. Any questions?
For scouting with damage orb, is that specific to verse dive? Or
That's a good question. It's more so in general, right? So obviously in the context of this game that we looked at, it was specific to scouting enclosed areas to make sure that you know, or to like double check essentially to see if Avenger's playing in that enclosed space, because they can be really, really scary to go against. But that's not specific to Venture. That's specific to really any space that you want to that you're scared about pushing it, or you're scared about pushing into. So let's say here, for example, if they're playing, let's say Hanzo, also ranged comp, Hanzo Ash, you don't necessarily need to damage all of this, because Hanzo isn't going to be playing here. If he does, he's done. And Ash isn't going to be playing it. If she does, she's done. Because these spaces aren't conducive to the ranges Countess want to play. But if you're playing against Venture, or you're playing against Junkrat, you're playing against Reaper, you're playing against characters that you know for sure want to hold these spaces and have held these spaces before, then damage dropping the scout stat can be really useful. Especially as well if you like a second point as well. I think you even saw the Venture like PK a little bit early. It's not even necessarily for scouting purposes. It's just to like force them off the angle and force them to make a choice. I think that's something I should have actually mentioned in the summary as well, where damage orb forces them to make a choice. Do I stand still and take damage in the damage orb, or do I commit with dash? And do I commit with by walking past the orb, and do I commit onto the Moira? Again, we saw that again on a third point defense where you orbed the Venture, and the Venture immediately dashed onto you, and that should be a prediction, because again, if the Venture can't stand here, because if they do, they'll take damage from the orb. So they have to dash into you or dash away. So yeah, I think it's like using it as a proxy tool, or as a prompt, or as a proc itself to scare people away from taking angles, and to give yourself like a little heads up, essentially, like an alarm bell, basically, about taking an angle beforehand. But yeah, it's specific to spaces that you want to control that you aren't so sure about taking, because again you're scared about dueling Adventure or Junkrat or whoever the case might be here. If you're playing against like Hanzo and Ash or stuff like that, you can keep the orb itself for the actual engagement. But yeah, any other questions?
Would you say that trying to phrase this properly. In terms of like frequency, do you think that I'm in their backline enough?
It's a good question. I know what you mean when you say that. I think you're taking angles enough. I just don't think the length at which you take the angle is pretty low. So I think the epitome of that, or an example of that, was first point, where the fight could have looked infinitely more different had you kept the angle here and forced the Venture out, and then you were able to reach backline afterwards. Like, that is a prime example of you getting forced out for basically no reason, and then again that affects your value later into the fight. Or even here as well, where again when you're playing on low ground, you're able to like keep this angle here and threaten backline, or threaten the Kiriko, threaten the Genji, threaten the Ana, threaten those kind of characters that are pushing around this sort of space here. So to answer your question, whether you're on backline enough, I in short, no. But if you're not far off, essentially, because you are taking angles, right? Like, this is an angle that you were taking here. I just think the uptime's the key thing. You give up these angles way too early. And again, like as I've spoken about, there are multiple ways to increase your uptime, whether it's heal orbs, distance, cover, maximizing your range on Moira as well, those kind of things, keeping an LOS with your team, and yeah, like that's really it, to be honest. It's the uptime on the angles, because the longer you can stay here, the more likely you are to actually be able to, again, contest these guys on low grounds. But yeah, hopefully that answers your question. Anything else?
Yeah, this didn't happen in this game, but something I like to do sometimes that's kind of gimmicky when I'm on defense is I'll set up in like a really aggressive like flank before the doors open. So for an example, on this map, something I was trying is if you go over like, yeah, like there, I was playing around here, like sometimes I was over to the right a bit more, in setup, and just trying to be kind of like an annoying mosquito to.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Do you have an opinion on that? Like, do you think that's okay?
Yeah. So there's this general rule, which is the more aggressive your flank, or the more aggressive a play, the later it needs to be timed. So this can absolutely work. Like staying here, being a mosquito, playing like a Sombra basically, or like a Tracer, where you sort of like hard sit in their backline. That can absolutely work. It's just that, again, it needs to be safe with how you do it. So timing of it can be, again, the later it is, the more stuff that's going on, the less cooldowns there will be to stop you from actually being able to, be a little mosquito. And again, things like distance, the way you use your orbs, how you path, how you're able to use covers, again, on the map naturally. Like, those will all influence how you're able to, again, be a little mosquito. I think the best example, or the closest example we saw of that, was like the fade here, where you faded from like here to here, I think, and you were directly behind them, but because it was so late into the fight, the only person that could really contest you was the Kiriko itself, and you only ended up dying because your orb went into the fucking sky. Your orb went into the infinity, which wasn't necessarily your fault. It was a bit unlucky. But yeah, like stuff like this, like where like you're playing really, really like aggressive, super hard angles, and you're setting up like these angles in the pre-fight, that's fine to do. That's completely usable. The timing just needs to be good, and how long you are on that angle for also needs to be long as well, so you don't get forced out immediately. Of course, your escapes need to be planned out as well. So if you do get forced out eventually by being a mosquito, you need a plan B. You need to be able to fade back safely. So yeah, that's another thing as well. But yeah, absolutely, it can work. It just needs to be done well. Anything else?
I think that's about it. I think that's good.
Cool. Okay. Well, I've also recorded this one as well. I'll link it to you after it's finished uploading, so you can watch it in your spare time.